Hello Madden fans, and more importantly, hello Browns fans, and welcome into the first episode of the Fix My Franchise series. Chris Schubert alongside with Alex Kolodziej, who is clearly not, you are dressed in a way that says you're not worried about your job.
Casual Tuesdays?
Casual Tuesdays here at the office, because we have been tasked with the responsibility of fixing the Cleveland Browns, yet the Cleveland Browns have gone out of their way to make our jobs a little bit easier.
A little bit?
A little bit. So what we're going to do here in episode 1, we're going to go through the roster, we're going to look at the depth charts offensively, defensively, special teams, take a look at what we like, what we don't like. The rosters are as up to date as possible. As you can see on the screen, it says Carlos Hyde has been changed to a halfback. Don't worry about that.
Don't ask questions.
Yeah, don't ask questions that you don't want the answers to, everybody. So we're going to go through the rosters, then we're going to go through the free agents. Some of these players have already signed with teams, but we are going to have the ability to sign them if we want. And at the end of the video, we're going to leave you with a question. And that question is what exactly we should do in free agency. When we come back in episode 2, we're actually going to enact some of these moves. So let's get started. Let's hop right into the team depth charts. We can go into it a little bit more in depth if we want to, but here's the main overall screen. And there you have it, AK. Tyrod Taylor.
The Tyrod show, T-Mobile show in Cleveland.
So my first thoughts when we look at this roster, we got a lot of talent, a lot of skill players.
Yeah,
we got Josh Gordon.
A lot of athletes.
Josh Gordon, Carlos Hyde, as you can see, there he is. We got him on the team. Duke Johnson backing him up. Corey Coleman, Jarvis Landry. Like we said, tried to make this as realistic as we could to what the actual Cleveland Browns did, because when we decided to do this, what did we decide? Like a day or two before?
We decided a day before, and sure enough, Schefter over here reporting Browns deals left and right.
So yeah, so they get Tyrod, they get Carlos Hyde, they get Jarvis Landry, they get Demarius Randall. All of those players are actually on the teams. We made the trades as realistic as possible in terms of trying to make the picks match up, everything like that. We still have the first overall pick, the fourth overall pick, everything like that. So I look at this team, and something stands out to me. Do you notice who's no longer playing left tackle anymore, AK?
Mr. Joseph Thomas.
Joe Thomas is no longer there, and for the first time in a very long time, this is a problem that the Cleveland Browns are going to have to, we are going to have to sort of figure out here. But I noticed that Bitonio is an 89 at the left tackle position, which should allow us to look at both the left tackle and the left guards in free agency, see if we can try to pluck one and then move that left side of the line around. So I like that. I like our options there.
Treader's fine.
He's fine.
Serviceable.
Zeitler, very good.
Top notch.
Could we use a right tackle? We could probably use a right tackle.
Don't have to panic if something fits.
But my thought being, and I don't want to get too much into our draft theory, we're going to keep that a little bit of a secret for you all.
We'll try.
I don't think we're going to be able to fill any of these positions with our draft picks.
Right.
1 and 4, right? I don't think that's our theory right now.
With what we have, you don't see a guy that's going to be plugged in right away that's going to be a franchise guy.
No.
It's going to be somebody that's going to have to back up and get used to the offense.
Right. So we're really probably looking to attack this position in free agency. By the way, we still have David Njoku.
David Njoku, let's talk about if David Njoku, I don't care how well he does in the field, that guy eats dinosaur meat for his diet.
Dinosaur meat for his diet. Can you confirm that? Sources, okay. So Njoku, Gordon, Coleman, Landry, I think we're good in terms of players offensively.
Yeah,
the line I'm a little worried about. The line, I would love to get somebody for the left side to shore that up. And if we could add somebody to the right side, that would probably be really good.
Right.
That probably would work.
Obviously, Sammy Coates.
Yeah, we'll get him off the team. We'll get him out of there. We'll get him out of there.
Wanted to get that.
All right, defensively. Well, you got to start with this guy. You got
franchise staple, foundation, can build around, and he didn't know. Remember his first game back?
He played the Jets, I believe, didn't he?
Sack on the first play.
Yeah, of course he did, because he's Miles
Garrett. Why wouldn't he?
Okay, so I'm just looking around here. There's Demarius Randall, for those of you who are wondering where he is.
And the game isn't high on Demarius Randall at 74. I think it's...
And that's kind of the thing we have to weigh here, is in real life, they traded for Demarius Randall to be a starter. He's probably not going to be a starter for us. I just don't think. We could use another corner. That's the first thing I can see here.
We need a #1 corner.
Yeah, because if we can move... I'm just trying to play this out in my head here.
Jamar Taylor, Breon Body Calhoun.
Body Calhoun is probably a very good #2 corner.
Agreed.
So if we can get a good #1 corner,
Minnesota guy,
that puts us in a really, really, really good spot. Do you want to know, and you and I were kind of doing a little bit of talking beforehand. Do you know where I really feel we could upgrade this team? Right there.
Get a linebacker.
We need to upgrade this linebacking core bad. This group needs an overhaul.
This group needs a stud.
They just need
not a PFF guy.
This needs a superstar.
High upside, a guy that is going to be a force
right
in the middle.
They got Jamie Collins last year, who I like. Solid player. Really solid player.
Between Kirksey and Jamie Collins, two guys that I like. Two guys that aren't superstars, but they're good players. They're okay players. You don't need to get rid of them. The
game is also very down on Jabril Peppers, and I don't like it. Because he was part of the plan here. I wanted Peppers to be a major player, and maybe we're going to have to rethink that a little
bit. Guy.
So linebacker is really...
The middle of the defense is going to be huge for us.
We could also use some help on the line.
No doubt.
We could also kind of try to make some plays there. So, that having been said, also, by the way, just to let everybody know, we're going to need a punter. We're gonna need some special teams help because Zane is good. Zane is solid.
Zane's good. Okay, guys.
We need a punter.
He's growing pains.
Do we want to? Okay, so let me ask you this question: do you want to look at a kicker? Is that something you want to look at?
Do we give him some time?
What do we want to do in year one? This is the question we have to ask ourselves. What is the year one goal for us?
Hey, special teams is going to be big.
Because in theory, look at this. Tyrod, Carlos Hyde, Coleman, Landry, Gordon. Offensively, being able to score points, I feel like we should be able to do that very successfully. Defensively, I think we've got a lot of pieces to like, but I think if you this is so weird for me to say, but if we're looking at this team, the offense is in a better situation to succeed next year than the defense.
I agree.
So, that having been said,
maybe we may want to take the extra time and spend it on special teams.
Right, we may want to really put ourselves in a situation where we can win games right away. So maybe we want to get a kicker who can make some big kicks for us late.
Do that.
You know, so that's really going to be the big thing. So when we have to make these types of decisions, and we're going to show you all the free agents, we're going to show you all the positions, we're going to have some debates about them. We want you guys to tell us who we should sign. This is really going to be us listening to you. Now, there may be times when we decide to not listen to you. I'm sorry, I hate to break that to you, but we may go in a different direction than what you guys want. But we want your feedback. We want, if there's an idea that you're not thinking of, maybe you want us to trade Tyrod. You want to get him out. You don't think it's the right pick. Or we should maybe try to look at trading maybe Josh Gordon or Corey Coleman. Things that we haven't even thought of. We want you to leave comments. We want you to tweet at us. We want all that feedback because, like I said, we're not making any decisions in this first episode.
We are off an 0-16 season. We are up for anything.
Yes, yeah, anything is on the table.
We'll take any suggestions you guys got.
We will do anything to really make this work. So, that being said, looked over the roster, have some ideas. We can go back and forth. We can look at different things. That having been said, let's jump right into it. I know what I'm about to do. I'm about to hit the button that says sign free agents. Don't worry. We're not signing any free agents. We are just going to look at what we have available to us. Now, we did kind of look at this beforehand. Got to have the prep work, everybody. So looking, there's, as you can see, there's our cap room number, $47.5 million, available funds, $19 million, and it's staring us right in the face, right off the bat. The top free agent available, Allen Robinson.
Chicago Bears guy, coming off of a season where he played one game, and still I think a lot of the national media think that he's going to be a star in Chicago.
So if we wanted to sign him, we would have to sign him to a $27.2 million deal over 4 years. That is a quote-unquote fair offer in the game. A fair, quote-unquote, for what we want. But you look at what our depth chart says, we have a B at the wide receiver position overall.
True.
I don't know if we necessarily want to.
And you may not need to break the bank for a guy like Allen Robinson. You can go probably to the second tier if you don't want to spend all that money on one wide receiver.
Right, if we don't want to.
But if you want to get your guy, he's right there.
He is right there. That would take up a lot of our money. Next guy that piques my interest would be this guy. We just talked about really wanting to upgrade this defensive line, and that really being one of the things we wanted. It wouldn't cost a whole lot of money. $23 million over 4 years. Maybe you have to sweeten the pot a little bit. You know what? It may be difficult getting people to come to Cleveland. I'm a little worried about the negotiating table.
Not a free agent hub per se.
No, although
right now
we've added some players thanks to what the actual Browns did that make this work. LeGarrette Blount. I really don't think we're going to look at a running back. Although some of you out there may not think Carlos Hyde is the answer. So would love to hear your thoughts on whether or not we should potentially look for another running back. LeGarrette Blount available. Dion Lewis available, Spencer Ware. Like I said, I don't think we're going to look for a tight end.
I think we're okay on tight end. I think Seth the Valve too backing up and Njoku's a decent option.
So we like that. Specific position you want to look at? I'm just looking at these are the top 100. But let's kind of take a peek at some of those positions that we really wanted to look at. So the first big one was left tackle. Well, as you can hear, my silence is probably the explanation as to how we both feel about this. Not a whole lot, but remember we talked about having the ability to move Batonio from guard to tackle and then picking up a guard. So there's nothing here that really jumps off the page at me. So let's look at the left guards.
Lawson.
This might be more of a group that we're interested in. Fulton might be a guy that we slide into the left guard spot, we move Batonio over to the left tackle spot if that's something that the audience likes. Again, this is going to be very driven by you guys looking at this, taking it all in, and letting us know what you want us to do. Because as of right now, you and I have an idea. We have a thought process.
We do.
We've had meetings and discussions about what we want this team to be, what we might do with the number 1 and the number 4 pick. But this is an interactive thing where we want you guys to tell us.
This isn't a two-man process.
No, this is not a
This
two-man
isn't a John
process.
Dorsey, Elliott Wolf project.
Clearly we feel like our job security is in good shape with the way that we're dressed here today. But maybe not. Maybe we're going to go 0-16 again and get canned.
Yeah.
Just get fired.
There's going to be a lot of input, a lot of crowdsourcing that we need.
That's right. So we're going to need that. But Fulton's a guy that I think we earmark right away. So should we get Fulton? Should we try to shore up the offensive line problems? Okay, so that's that. Offensively, I don't really think we're going to be looking for anything else. So now, let's go to the group that we were...
And that's right in the middle of the defense. And that's where I think we need some big help.
So I know this is not where I was intending to go, but we wanted somebody for the right side. Okafor might fit that. He might.
Somebody coming off the edge along with Myles Garrett on the opposite side is
nice. So in theory, it's a nice idea.
Absolutely.
It works. All right, let's look at the middle of the defense. We're letting all of these thoughts just kind of flow here. We got Barwin. Junior Gallette's not bad.
Cheap.
Although, is this really an upgrade? That's the other thing we have to ask ourselves. If we're going to shell out this kind of money, are we making an upgrade at these positions? So we can look here.
And do you want to get younger? Do you want to bring in veterans? You know, what's the idea?
Right, is it veterans? Is it veteran players?
Try and build from scratch, or you want to bring in guys to be reinforcements? Because
the case can be made for either, really. In my head, adding in a sprinkling of veterans, and the guy we have on screen right now is the perfect example of a guy that I think might fit. You bring in a guy like Navarro Bowman. He's a veteran leader for that defense that I think needs it with guys like Garrett and Peppers, and he can really teach these guys, the way.
Yeah.
And he's good. He's still good. He's not one of these older. He's not 35. He's not 36. He's 30. He's got a couple of years that can still kind of help us along. And if we do make it to the postseason, if we do put this team in position, I know what I said. I know what I said. We're trying to make the postseason, people. Navarro Bowman might be the perfect guy for it. So this is a guy that I think we should kind of look at.
I think there's a clear direction, and I think after they made the trades, they get a veteran in Tyrod Taylor, a guy who's still young in Jarvis Landry, who's not old.
Clearly, those moves were made to win now.
Exactly.
Now,
it wasn't a rebuild. It wasn't a tearing down. It was
a we have assets. We're going to make moves. So now we're going to try to play off that.
So yeah,
this might be another one that we think of. Your deep sigh concerns me greatly.
No, I like him because at the age of 25.
Yep.
Bring him on in. I like that more than Tom Ali.
Do you like that more than Navarro Bowman?
23.8. That's a big number. That's a big chunk.
It's a big number, and trying to make it work is going to be something that we're really going to have to, money-wise, we're going to have to debate.
Exactly.
Also, we talked about getting another corner.
A number 1 corner. So there you go. There's a guy in TJ Carey that.
Okay, Joseph.
We know the.
Do you want that?
Kyle Fuller.
A lot of options here. So now I'm forgetting how this game works. That $19 million in available funds, is that all we have to spend? Because that scares me. If that's the case.
That's all.
I'm a little nervous. I got to be honest with you.
Number.
We have to change our strategy here a little bit. But it says we have $47.5 million in cap room. So I don't know what to believe. And I will show you, we have not negotiated with anybody. We haven't signed anybody yet. This is all happening as we do this here. So.
And here's my thought too on cornerbacks. Unless there's a number 1 guy, cornerback's pretty expendable position. A spot where we can use a guy that's maybe not a stud that we can plug in. Unless there's somebody there that we really, really want.
Just look at who the list. Oh, hello.
Oh, hello, Darrell.
Darrell, 33.
Former Chiefs great.
Former Jets great, really. I don't think his tenure in. Technically, I am Dorsey in this scenario.
You are John Dorsey.
So I could potentially bring him back. Okay, the other thing we discussed. I mean, you want a guy that can make kicks late in games. You want a guy, that's the guy.
Age is not a number for kickers.
No,
They're not taking hits. They're not taking hits. He doesn't even wear knee pads. That's how little he cares about getting hit.
I'm just going to put this out there as well.
Seabass? You think he's in Cleveland? They would love him.
They would love him.
They would love him in Cleveland.
Now we can also look at punters.
Dustin Colquitt, Shane Leckler.
You
get Pat O'Donnell.
Before we started, you mentioned Pat O'Donnell. You said, is that you flexing your Pat O'Donnell muscle?
Could you imagine Pat O'Donnell and David?
I can't really do that. I don't have the same muscles.
Pat O'Donnell and David Njoku eating at lunch every day, just crushing 60 grams of whey protein. Dinosaur meat, Velociraptor leg.
Yeah, it's great.
You know it. The team gets automatically more intimidating with O'Donnell on the team. You got to factor that in.
I got to be honest with you. This is not where I expected us to be. I expected us to come in here, sit down, and be like, "Oh, let's get this guy,
Allen Robinson, Sheldon Richardson." But
now, I'm thinking we take our money and we get some real depth stuff
instead of trying to hit the home run and trying to get that guy.
Right.
Maybe there's some more allocation.
Right. So, all right, here's what I'm going to do, guys. Kind of wrapping up here in episode 1. Like I said, a big primer here. You got to see what the roster looked like. You got to see who the free agents are. This is the plan that AK and I are going to put forth. We would love your suggestions. We're not going to do anything in this video. And when we come back in episode 2, we're going to enact some of these moves, your suggestions, kind of try to pair it together with what we're trying to do. So at the end of the day, here's what I think we should do, and you can interrupt me if you think if I'm wrong. We can go offensive line and really tackle or guard, and put our resources in that, shore up an offense that we believe in with Tyrod. I think you and I are both in agreement that we can go with Tyrod as our quarterback.
Absolutely.
We don't need to go with. And by the way, I will show everybody, just to show everybody. Of course, it's not going to load. We can bring in Case Keenum. Sam Bradford.
Jake Cut.
Okay, Teddy Bridgewater, Brock. Nope. I think it's really going to be those top 3 guys, and then there's a big drop off because I'm not bringing AJ McCarron. I'm not doing it. No. So like I said, there are options here. We could bring in a Case Keenum. We can bring in a Sam Bradford, Teddy Bridgewater. If you guys don't feel that Tyrod Taylor is the answer, you and I are kind of in the mode where we can kind of win with Tyrod.
We think so.
By the way, hint, that doesn't rule out another quarterback joining this roster in another capacity. Doesn't rule it out. So these are the options we have. So we can put resources into protecting Tyrod, giving this offense the ability to thrive with all of the talent that they have, or we could put some money into some defensive players, like a Sheldon Richardson, like a Navarro Bowman, like one of the corners, and special teams. I think we can do either way. So the question that we are going to leave here today, and I'm going to go back here. I'm going to look at the team. I'm going to show you the team.
Here are your 2018 Cleveland Browns.
This is what the 2018 Cleveland Browns look like right now. Here's your offense. Tyrod Taylor, Carlos Hyde, Coleman, Landry, Gordon, Njoku. You got this line with Bitonio and Kevin Zeitler and Shredder as the key components. Could make some upgrades there.
Still probably a few holes to plug there, but
yeah. Now we go to the defense, and you look at the talent of Myles Garrett.
There are pieces. There are
linebacking core that I'm not a big fan of. Jabril Peppers, who the game's a little down on.
Myles Garrett, a breath of fresh air, and some questionable assets.
And then you look at special teams.
Nobody's safe.
Kicker. Going to need a punter.
We're going to need a punter.
Punter's going to need to be a core requirement either way. But do we go out and get somebody like Adam Vinatieri? So, as we leave here on episode 1, we've showed you the roster. We've showed you who the free agents are. The real question is, should the priority be on shoring up this offensive line, filling out the rest of special teams, and going with the group that we have, potentially adding 1 or 2 defensive players? Or should we go all in on defense, get a big name player like Sheldon Richardson, shell out the money, get a Navarro Bowman, get a corner? Should we go all in on defense, let the offensive group, there I'll show you one more time, let this offensive group work? You still have talent at your 2 tackle positions that are good enough to play. Nothing, there's no 65s in there that we should be worried about. There's no, whoever that guy is, there's nobody like that on the team. You got 2 70+ players at those 2 positions, so you could work. You could shore up that offensive line and get 1 defensive player, or we could go all in and spend all of our money on shoring up the defense and going with the group that we have. So that is the question that we are leaving off to you. Let us know in the comments down below what players we should target. Should we go out and get a Sheldon Richardson and Navarro Bowman? Should we shore up the offensive line? What should we do? And when we come back in episode 2, we're going to enact some of these moves, make this roster a little bit better, and then
and win some games. Let's go.
you're getting a little ahead of yourself. There's this thing called the NFL Draft that is going to be after that too. So we're going to get this roster ready for the NFL Draft and then be able to make 2 really important picks that may be able to shape this team even more. So let us know in the comments below what we should do. We'll catch you in episode 2.